is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Galaxy S26 versus the iPhone 17. This is the base model speed test. Let's see how these base offerings do compared to each other. These are two of the hottest entry-level flagships in the game. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, one thing I like about the Galaxy is that it comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM standard. You're still at 8 gigabytes on these base model iPhones. But, you know, a lot of people know that iOS is pretty optimized. You've seen it with the MacBook Neo. It doesn't always need, Apple doesn't always need as much RAM, but Samsung says, sit down iPhone 17. I'm going to boot up significantly faster than you. So Samsung with an easy victory if you need to restart your phone for whatever reason you need. It's going to start up a lot quicker than iPhone 17. We are looking at the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy on the left, and the Apple A19 here on the right, not the A19 Pro, just the regular A19 on board. When it comes to unlocking the phones with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, you're just in like that. And again, I've talked about it before, but it just feels a little quicker. You can also bypass the face unlock via the camera without swiping. So unlocking the Galaxy S26 is a speedier experience than this right here. As I bring this up to my face, it is fast and convenient. And one of the things I like about Face ID is that even if your fingers are greasy or whatever, or you're just like, you know, just need to use your face, it's more convenient as it works pretty much all the time. However, if I'm looking at it this way, there's no Touch ID scanner on the side of the phone, which we might see on the iPhone folding phone. It seems like it could be integrated there, but you always got to look at the phone. So that's the only thing. If you're trying to pull out your pocket fast, you're going to have to do that quick swipe. But other than that, yeah, speedier Galaxy. I think it's faster to unlock, but the convenience factor, you might like Face ID a bit more. Now, when we're looking at the actual general operating speed, One UI 8.5 actually just made its way to more Samsung devices, but it just performs very fast. This is one of the things I've liked about recent Samsung in the past 2 to 3 years, is they've really improved the speed of the operating system, even though it's still feature packed. So you have your pure feature packed system here, but it's a lot faster in like just everyday actions, whether we're scrolling, whether we're pulling down the quick panel, whether we're even multitasking, split screening. Things have gotten a lot faster, a lot less of those little micro stutters. They still occur occasionally, but it's getting much better. Now on the iPhone, I actually feel like they're going still with the polished look. You can see as the icons fly into the operating system here, the speed of it is still kind of like trying to flow along a little bit smoother. Some people like this polished look, this bouncy look here in the control area, control center. You can see they're still going for the visually nice look. It does give it a refined, polished feel, but if you're looking for pure speed, we are doing a speed test. I think operating the system, the One UI 8.5 feels faster. All right, guys, so everything is closed out for both phones. Let's go ahead and begin with calendar, and you can see the Galaxy with a slightly faster animation, it looked like. Let's swipe up out of there. You can see their actual animations do look about the same. Let's go into clock. And it seems like it taps a little bit quicker there on the Galaxy. I'm gonna move these out the way because my hands are kind of hitting them. Let's go ahead and swipe that out of there. And we'll click the calculator. Again, the animation faster on the Galaxy. We'll go into Play Store. Once again, faster on the Galaxy to load that up. I mean, you can see that the Galaxy just flies through the scrolling. Over here, still smooth, but a little bit slower. Now, somebody's going to say, you're never going to scroll that fast. No, not much, but you can just slow it down if you want it to look more iPhone-like, just like that. So it's really gives you both, best of both worlds. Let's go in here into weather. Also faster, it looked like on the Samsung. I could be wrong. Call me out if I call any wrong down below, ChatGPT. And that was faster for the Samsung again. We're going to go into Gemini. Again, faster, I think. Well, that one was not too different. Let's go into Copilot. And you'll see that was faster on the left. We'll go into Groupon. Faster on the left. Here comes iPhone. And we'll swipe up out of there. We're going to go into News on both. That was kind of the same. And let's go into Instagram on both. And you see that was faster on the left. Let's swipe out of there. We're going to go into X. That was faster on the left. We'll go into Subway Surfers. And Subway Surfers is going to appear first here on the iPhone. So the iPhone comes back on the first game. It appears to be quicker there. However, once in, doesn't really matter in Subway Surfer City. It's going to be a fun experience either way you go here. So definitely like that. Let's swipe up out of here. We're going to go into Race the Sun. See which one we get here first. Getting a little pop-up for notifications there. And looks like that pop-up slowed us down a bit on the Galaxy. Let's go ahead and close out both and rerun that. This is just because I think the pop-up was not giving us an accurate representation of the speed. So you can see right there, they're pretty much neck and neck. Let's go into Dead Trigger 2. And game mode does appear. That was faster on the iPhone. It looks like the iPhone's pulling ahead a bit on some of the games here, but not on this one. It's taking its sweet time there. So Samsung takes a victory back on that game. We'll go into Free Fire, and we'll see what happens here. And again, it could just come down to the milliseconds difference of my fingers, but mostly I'm seeing just a little bit of a snappier. It's just a little snappier on that Samsung. You can see right there. So definitely, I think the 12 gigs of RAM is helping. The fact that, let's go over here, that Samsung has been optimizing the UI. It's definitely getting a bit better on the Galaxy experience. This is what I'm saying. The Samsungs are really fast now. Like, they're extremely quick. And you still get all the features. So it's like all the features and fast. Before it was like either you kind of deal with a little bit of lag or micro stutters here and there on Samsung devices, or you just deal with it. It's not that big of a deal, but sometimes. And then you go to iPhone if you want always smooth. But now I feel like you're getting like all the smooth and speed over here, and you're getting just the pure polish over here with the speed as well. So it's coming down to personal preference. Do you want iOS look, or do you want Samsung's features? Because you can get massive speed either way here. We'll go into 3D Mark, but I think you'll perceive the speed of the phone to be faster on the Galaxy. Let's go into speed test, and that was faster on the iPhone. But your brain might actually like the look of the visuals on the iPhone. So you got to try out both of them in stores, see which one you're preferring. But they're pretty close, these two phones. And so wrapping it up, I think the Galaxy was faster in the app test overall. The iPhone pulled ahead in a couple of games, and it might actually outperform it depending on which game is developed better on which phone. I think that's really going to come down to which one the developers focus more on, making it for Android or making it for iPhone. That's how the games are going to operate, I feel like. So let's go ahead and do the RAM management now. So here we are with the Galaxy S26, and you could see as I go through these applications, incredibly snappy performance, holding everything, even on your base Galaxy S26. Now, the S26 is still a flagship phone, though. The price, let's not get it twisted, it's well over $800. So this is still a top-tier phone. You're just getting not quite as big of a screen as the Ultra and no S Pen. But it's basically like an Ultra without the Ultra's size screen. You also don't have the privacy display, so you get more of a traditional screen. But you see as I swipe through, there's just no lag. I mean, this thing is awesome. And then if I go ahead and do a, if I do a split screen here and I bring in some split screens, there's no lag there either. As I bring in more and more, it just doesn't lag. That's just such a great thing. One thing I am noticing is a little bit of heat. Let's check the thermals real quick on this phone. Okay, so checking the thermals, I just want to check them. Definitely getting a little bit warmer than I would like, though. I'm feeling that a little bit. See, it's hitting around 105 at the top. So this phone right here definitely gets warmer thermally than the Galaxy S26 Ultra, the iPhone Max. This one probably too. Let's go ahead. It had a little bit of a chance to cool down, so I'm going to run these apps and let this thing get a little warm as well, and we'll check its temps. So reconnected to, one of the things I noticed the iPhone I feel like does a little more is it throttles a little bit more. I feel like it will close stuff faster to keep the phone temperature stable. I feel like Samsung lets you push the phone a little bit more. We'll go over here to App Store, Calculator, Clock, Calendar, and as you swipe through, this is also very fast. You can see it holds it pretty well. With the ProMotion display, even your base iPhone 17 feels like a rocket. It is pretty awesome here that the base iPhone 17 no longer feels like a base phone. It feels like a flagship with that ProMotion. Now, if we go ahead and try to split screen, it's not available. Phone is starting to get a little warm. Let's check its temperatures. You can see 102 up at the top, similar area. Let's check down here. So yeah, this thing maxed out at about 102. It stayed a little bit cooler than the Galaxy S26 though. So the thermals I think are slightly better on the iPhone 17 than the Galaxy S26 base models. And so it's over for the iPhone party. What I mean is that they're always winning in Geekbench 6, but not this time around. The Galaxy has beaten it in both single core and multi-core, and that's what I was saying in performance. I've been noticing the iPhone just doesn't feel as fast as these latest Galaxies. And I think this Geekbench number showcases you that the Galaxy is more than capable of outperforming that iPhone. Let's go ahead and take a look at a 3D mark where I think we're further going to extend our lead on the Galaxy S26. And I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm just trying to objectively tell you what we're seeing here. We're seeing better scores. We're seeing snappier perceived performance with their animations and just daily use. And I don't think it's going to change here. I think we're going to average higher frame rates. I think we're going to have less throttling. And one thing that is good about the iPhone base is that it is cooler to the touch. And some part of me makes me think that Apple's not getting the full potential out of the base because they simply want to sell you the pros, or they want you to upgrade to the pros because that's their top tier performer. Whereas I feel like Samsung doesn't really pull back too much on the base, and plus they just don't give you the best cameras or the S Pen. But with the iPhone device, I feel like they could just put 12 gigs of RAM in here, maybe 16 on the pros, and these could do a little bit better. But maybe this one is more geared towards battery savings and throttling a bit back to keep that battery life great on the base. We'll see what happens here on 3D Mark. And it's absolutely a crushing victory within Wildlife Extreme. We're getting 6676 on the Galaxy. Over 10 FPS difference on gaming average frame rate performance. Scores better than 97% of devices on the market. Over here, 87%. That's substantially better on the Galaxy over here. But once again, the iPhone does feel cooler to the touch. Let's go ahead and check that to prove it. After that benchmark, you're going to see that thermals, 111 in one point of this phone, in one section of this phone. Over here, 98, 97, 96. So you can see they're keeping that iPhone cooler, but Samsung getting much warmer to the touch, but also much faster in that performance. So I do believe this 17 is pulling back or throttling a bit under heavy load versus the Galaxy S26. So let's see how they do in their internet speed test. We'll start over here with the Galaxy S26. These have historically been absolutely phenomenal in my speed tests. I want to make sure this is on the same server while we do this test. And it sure is. So let me bring this back in here. 1200 down on the download. Guess a lot of people are sleeping this Sunday morning, so I'm getting my fast speeds. We'll see what happens here on, hold on, we'll see what happens here on the upload. I bumped the mic a little bit as I was putting something back. You'll see right there, 41 on the upload. Let's see if my download can beat it here on the iPhone. So looks like we have we've hit some higher scores there. So yeah, the iPhone is just as capable, it looks like, as the Galaxy S26 in the Wi-Fi performance, 1280. That's probably a high score on that phone. Yeah, definitely is. So the iPhone has won this one. So yeah, you can see the iPhones, like I say, they got more than capable. Galaxy's always used to win in these departments, but in 2026, the iPhones have now matched and in some cases can surpass the Galaxy phones, but they're pretty much neck and neck in Wi-Fi performance and in this that area. One area I do find a Samsung still to be a bit better is like 5G mobile performance when you're on the move. I feel like it has better bar strength when I'm using it. But the last thing I want to do before we get up out of here is a quick camera test. We're going to launch the cameras, see which one has faster shutter speed. Let me pull this out just a little bit, and we're going to pull these cameras in. So 3, 2, go. And look like the iPhone had it open first. The Samsung looks a little bit sharpened to me for some reason. The photo looks a little bit more natural on the iPhone. Let me go ahead and hit the camera. Once you already open them once though, then the Samsung appears pretty quickly. Let's see how they look when snapping a photo. Yeah, the iPhone snaps the photo slightly quicker. It seems to process it a little bit faster as well. And it has the camera control. Samsung doesn't have that. But the camera, that's a video topic for another day, or a section in a comparison for another day. Speed-wise, let's come down to the bottom line. The bottom line is, the conclusion is, the Galaxy is a faster phone. The phone boots up faster. it performs snappier. Like you can actually see it, like when you're navigating through it, it just scrolls through things fast, things pop open faster. The actual Geekbench scores are faster. The 3D Mark is faster. It doesn't throttle as much. The Galaxy S26 has won this speed test when it comes to speed. Now, personal preference wise though, you might like the rounded corners more of the iPhone. You might love the 17 that it's got promotion now for a base model. It's an excellent iPhone value. But with 8 gigs of RAM, I wish it had 12. This phone, I think, has taken an L to the S26. Oh, keep that flashlight's on. It's taken an L in terms of speed. But this is not the full comparison. It's just speed. So we're going to give the victory here based on what I've seen in this test to Samsung. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. And if you want to see a full comparison between these two, which would lead to different discussion points because this is just speed, let me know about that down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.